Alright, so I'm genuinely confused as to why they made us wait a solid 2 weeks simply for Emma Frost's uniform and a tier 3 when they could have given that to us at the same time they gave us the uniforms for Sinister, Betsy, and Colossus. But whether I understand their reasons, whether I agree with them or not, doesn't change the facts that this is indeed what's happening. So, today, tonight, wherever you're at, there's going to be a rolling patch and Emma Frost is going to be getting a new uniform and a tier 3. I looked over the uniform briefly and it does look like Emma Frost is getting a substantial upgrade. We'll have to wait and see if it actually makes her meta, if it makes her relevant long term, or if it's her third dud uniform. However, in addition to that, if you don't care about Emma Frost, that's perfectly fine. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this all uniform discount. It feels like it's been at least 2 months since we've gotten one of these. There's been a good amount of uniforms released and people have been waiting to pick up a few. So I'm happy that it's finally back and you guys can purchase some uniforms. Now that being said, let's take a look at Emma Frost and see some of the changes that she's receiving. So first and foremost, for Emma Frost with her uniform, she's returning to the hero category with this newest uniform. And I guess that's good, but to be honest, it's not going to really change too much for her. When it comes to World Boss Legend, she's still going to need to be at least strong enough to do 25, stage 25 Null, and around stage 30 Mephisto to be worth picking up. So switching from villain to hero doesn't really do too much for her in my eyes. It's not really going to do anything in ABX, and it's not really going to do anything in squad battle, so that's just whatever. Moving on, the uniform bonus, they actually increased it from 10% energy attack to 20% energy attack for her. That's good, I guess. And then the incapacitation was, the activation rate was 35%. Now it's 50% for 10 seconds with a 15-second cooldown. Cooldown and duration is staying the same. They're just basically increasing it by 15%. Moving on, we have Mind Cloak, which is giving her skill damage and bonus damage, as opposed to before it was just giving her guaranteed dodge. It was giving her 20% guaranteed dodge. Now it's giving her 30% guaranteed dodge, 40% max HP, and skill damage or bonus damage. So this is a substantial increase to her survivability for PvP. That's actually really good. And then her tier 2 passive, before it was giving her a 60% mine resistance buff, which is okay, I guess. And then in addition to that, it was giving her the ability to penetrate barriers and shields by 100%. This, they actually made it so it's 60% passively, but it penetrates everything. That's a very, very good ability for PvP. And then her mine damage is actually returning. With the Phoenix 5 uniform, it was a 40% fire damage buff. This time it's a 50% mine damage buff. Frankly, it makes sense because she's returning to her roots of being a mine damage character. I'm looking forward to testing her out with a CTP of Judgment to see if she can actually push very high stages. But it looks like with the max HP and the penetration and the guaranteed dodge, it looks like they might be going the PvP route with her, which is perfectly fine. However, moving on, we have damage immunity on her second skill for 2 seconds, which is really, really strange. But the cooldown itself is 7 seconds. You cut that in half. If you have max skill cooldown, that's going to be 3.5 seconds. So you can probably just spam this in PvP. And the AI is genuinely going to prioritize the 1s and 2s. So she's going to be immune a lot. So that's pretty good. If she's going up against characters that natively can penetrate, they're going to have a hard time getting rid of her, especially since she's getting a substantial HP buff. Generally, blast characters don't have the highest base HP, and Emma Frost generally sits around 40k. So I guess with the 40% increase, that'll probably bump her up to like 55, 60,000. And then with a tier 3, maybe that'll bump her up to like 80, 90,000. We'll have to wait and see overall what her HP looks like for me. And then we'll basically decide on if she's worth a regen or an authority based on her HP pool, because generally the higher your HP, the more worth it is to give you a CTP of regen. So you get a massive HP shield whenever your HP drops below 50%. Moving on, Emma Frost is getting iframe ignore on her third skill, which is really, really good. So definitely tells me that they want her to be a PvP character. They're giving her damage accumulation here at 0.5%. Is nothing crazy, but listen, this could actually be more than 0.5%. Maybe it's one of those skills like Spider-Man, very, very rare, where if the skill play out in its entirety, it scales from 0.5 to 0.9 to 1.2. You never know, right? So we'll have to wait and see if this is actually a 0.5% damage accumulation buff or if it's more than that. But in addition to that, when she puts this skill up, she reduces all damage received by 85% for 10 seconds. That is massive. Okay, do keep in mind that the cooldown time on this is 18 seconds, so that's very, very long. It's generally been the case with Emma Frost for her third skill to have at least 16-second cooldown time, so 18 seconds isn't anything crazy. I believe on her Marvel Now black uniform, the cooldown was also it was fairly high as well. It was 15 seconds. Okay. In addition to that, she's giving herself a 30% all attack buff. Okay. I look forward to seeing what they do with Emma Frost on that third skill. It's not a counter attack, is it? No, it's not. It's just enabling iframe ignore. It's a shame that we're not seeing the reflect make a return on the uniform, but I already seen the artifact and it looks like that's where they're going to try and make money off her. So the fourth skill here, paralysis, defense down. And he got invincibility, so that's really, really good. Wow, this fifth skill though, bind, silence, charm, mind control, and HP plus an attack buff. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So Emma Frost can heal now. That's actually really good that they didn't lock it behind the artifact like they did with Colossus and a few other characters like Heimdall as well. So that's good. Overall, the kit here actually looks really good. She might very well be as good as Psylocke depending on her damage, especially since she has the accumulation here. But it looks like they're gearing her more towards PvP, so she could be as good, if not better than Sinister, depending on how she prioritizes these skills. So moving on, let's take a look at Emma Frost's tier 3 down here. You can see it's not really anything great in terms of the effects. You see we get ignore dodge, which is nice. She doesn't get any ignore dodge passively or from her uniform, so she only gets it from her tier 3. Lasts for 10 seconds. She gets invincibility, debuff removal, and an attack buff with a 50% damage proc for 2 attacks. That's actually pretty good. It doesn't look like you can cancel out this skill though, or at least it doesn't look like you want to, because at the very end she slams down and it looks like it does quite a few hits, so I would not recommend actually canceling it, but we'll have to test and see if the last portion is actually worth playing out there, because it looks like it's about 30 hits at the very end. So you can see right here with Emma Frost's artifact, it looks like they're trying to make a bag off of it. At 6 stars, it reflects 35% of the damage she receives, and this is passively all the time, and this is up to 50% of max attack, and this is regardless of the enemy's defense. Definitely looks like they're trying to make a bag off of her. Hopefully she can function in PvP though without the artifact, but we can definitely see that the artifact is going to help her stay alive and also add to her damage output, because if you're passively reflecting 35% of the attacks that are coming in, that just means you're doing 35% more damage to the enemy. We know how deadly Silver Surfer currently is when it comes to the reflect, even after all this time where characters are getting more and more powerful. It doesn't really matter how powerful you get. If you're not one-shotting the Surfer, there's a high probability that he's going to reflect a bunch of damage in your face, and if he doesn't kill you off the reflect, he does a significant amount of damage to you off of it. So can expect something similar for Emma Frost here. Definitely looks like she's going to be toxic character for PvP, if not for timeline battle, definitely for Alliance Conquest. And here's the thing, I don't mind them making more characters that can, I guess, add some flavor to Alliance Conquest, but at some point they gotta start looking at that game mode as a real game mode and actually put some worthwhile rewards in there, put something at stake really, so that players actually want to invest in these characters and take that game mode more seriously, because there's only a handful of us that actually truly take Alliance Conquest seriously, and I can completely understand why. It's just because the incentive isn't really there to invest hundreds of dollars and hours of your time each week to get better at the game mode. I know people who are still playing it, the top 100, and they don't even know how the game mode works. They think just attacking is enough, which it really isn't, and even after all this time I'm trying to explain it to these people, they still don't get it. Anyways, moving on, besides that, let's take a look at some of the other changes. So they're adding in collection, a uniform collection that gives you some Phoenix feathers if you get all these uniforms to Mythic, which I guess I'll get them all to Mythic just for the extra feathers. Nah, just get it because I want to have all the uniforms to Mythic. In addition to that, Mr. Sinister is getting a slight buff. Actually, I would say it's more than a slight buff. To be honest with you, his force skill is getting a 50% chance to penetrate pretty much everything for 5 seconds. The skill itself has a 7-second cooldown, and this skill was already really good because you could just cancel it immediately and it would summon a giant version of himself that fires this massive laser beam, and it does really good damage. And if you're in PvP and you pop his forward skill, even if you're on autoplay, if the enemy like cancels you out of it, Mr. Sinister will jump into another one of his skills and this skill will still fire off. So this skill having a 50% chance to penetrate everything. Sure, it doesn't have iframe ignore, nothing crazy like that, but it's still really good to see this. I would have liked for him to get iframe ignore in his kit as well. I would have liked to see Colossus get iframe ignore or some type of buff, but it looks like they just care about selling Sinister because Sinister is a paywall character. One thing I don't really like about this Hellfire Gala update, I'm just gonna state it here right now, every single one of these characters are expensive to some degree. We have Emma Frost that costs a ton of crystals, Betsy costs a ton of crystals, Mr. Sinister is a paywall character that you can only get now anyways, right? If you were playing a long time ago, you could have him for free, but now you have to pay money to get him. Colossus, sure, you can get some bios for him from Danger Room, or if you can farm him passively if you play what they'll call Stupid X-Men or whatever. There's like 2 missions that you can farm in the game on a regular basis and you can get some bios for Colossus, but it's a long grind. So these characters, all 4 of them, are really expensive, so they should be a little bit better for people who want to invest in them. Anyway, so in addition to that, Mr. Sinister is getting a buff. His Awaken skill, I noticed this in PvP, which is why I never made a PvP video on him. He was not prioritizing his 6th skill at all, which, in case you guys don't know, your 6th skill is supposed to have the highest priority when it comes to PvP and the character being on autoplay, because in most cases, it's the strongest skill in a character's kit, and I believe for 90% of the characters in the game, their 6th skill has iframe ignore. Only the old ones, the really old ones, don't have iframe ignore on their skills. And a lot of times, if you're in PvP and a character is iframing a bunch and your character is not prioritizing their 6th skill, then guess what? You're just gonna die because you have no other skill that has iframe ignore for the majority of characters in the game. So it's nice to see that this is getting fixed. I'll definitely do some PvP videos with Mr. Sinister. I think with this being added to his 4th skill, he's even more viable now for a mighty transcendence for any of you guys who wanted to put that on him if you had one. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and do it, but because of the fact that he has immunity to guard break built into his uniform and he now has penetration, there's realistically no need to give him a CTP of destruction, and his HP pool is not really the highest, so regen is off the table. So with that gone, I would say it's either authority for this guy with steel, or you could give him a transcendence and see if that buffs his summons enough. But I really find that in PvP he doesn't put out his summons as much, but maybe with the change to his 6th skill, they might have changed how his AI plays. Now, along with this Hellfire Gala mid-month rolling patch that's going to be happening tonight, after reset today, they're going to be releasing these chests right here for Hellfire Gala. And in these chests, you'll be able to pick up some Phoenix Feathers and Imcron Crystals and 5 and 6 star cards with some Cosmic Cube Fragments and a chance of getting a 6-star Mega Rank Up ticket. This is basically if you're down bad for feathers and you're just trying to get them so you can work on Emma Frost. I would personally not buy this. I'm never buying these card chests anymore personally. It's just not worth it for me. The pain is too real. This relay pack for $4, $9, and what is this? $20 there. The one for $50 is okay. I think it's a good deal if you really need the Mega Tier 2 and you want the crystals, but I'm gonna skip over all of these. I see zero desire to buy these personally. Let's see what else they dropped. I think they dropped the Hellfire Gala Part 2 Celebration. Yep. I wish they gave us a little bit more cleavage on Emma Frost, but I guess it might be too risque. So here's the uniform set. Oh, the faction war is open. Hold on. So whose bios are they giving? Oh, X Gene Selector. That sucks. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks because I don't think you're going to be able to pick up Colossus or Mr. Sinister from here. That is rough. I would have preferred if they did it the old way and made it so that you could get bios / X genes for Colossus or Mr. Sinister. But I think they did it like this on purpose because realistically, the best character you can choose from this would be, I guess, X-23 if you want to buy her newest uniform, or Kid Omega if you want to get through Shadowland a little bit faster because of that what you call it, that Phoenix Force stage. Okay, so Emma Frost is going on sale. I still would hold off in regards to buying her. What is this? Oh, if you get her uniform ranked up, you get some UUKs and stuff. Ooh. Okay, so there's a crystal spending mission. Oh, well, that kind of sucks considering I just spent 4,000. Well, I wouldn't have gotten much anyways. I was gonna say that kind of sucks because I spent 4,000 crystals on the free-to-play account to pick up Makari and whatnot. But if you guys wanted to buy a bunch of uniforms and you wanted to get some deluxe packages and stuff, now would not be a bad time because you get the mythic ticket that you can use on somebody like Emma Frost, and then you get a 6-star mega rank up ticket that you can use on literally anybody. Okay, so what is this? Event bosses. Oh, I was wishing they would put the 50% discount on skipping stages on the bosses. Let's see what else is going on. It's a lot of events. Wow. Okay, so I think I might participate in the chance up for Odin's Blessings. But besides that, ooh, I might unequip some Odins as well. Yeah, I might do that. And then 30% discount. Okay. Yeah, decent amount of events coming in. But realistically, I don't know why. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter if I know. More than likely something is going on and they can't do the update in the normal schedule like they used to, or like they want to, I guess. So they pushed it back. That's all I can come up with. So guys, we're gonna wrap it up right here. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Are you excited for Emma Frost? I think she looks good. I think the uniform looks like they put a lot of work into it. Hopefully it's not another dud. Fingers crossed. I'll be giving you guys a bunch of videos on her, procs, CTPs, PvP, PvE, you name it. And then I might just disappear again until I don't know when. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.